Anora's ending is not what you think. And in order for us to understand why she went from luxury shopping trips to crying on a stranger's shoulder, we need to break down who Anora really is. Let's start with the opening scene where we have a voyeuristic view of Annie. We can really get a sense of a specific side of her as she moves from one man to the next. She has the appearance of being in control and knowing exactly which man to approach with confidence. She doesn't appear desperate or fake. She's laid back and being herself, but don't get it confused. She is not to be played with. We see this when one of her haters confront her about dancing with one of their regulars. She's nonchalant and unbothered when she answers, yeah, in a tone that says, and what are you going to do about it? She also is pretty sassy with her boss, talking about the DJ not playing their playlist or playing the playlist that she wants, and she just talked to him however she wants. She doesn't care that he's her boss. And during this time where she's confronting her boss about the DJ not playing the playlist, she's on her lunch break, and this is where he is trying to get her to come out to talk to this Russian kid. So, I really like how the director does make it seem like, being a dancer is a regular job. Go in, get your money, and go home, basic. So, yeah, this is shown by her eating on her lunch break out of a Tupperware container, as well as later on when a manager says that Anora is leaving, but she had already made the schedule. Like, this is just such a mundane thing with any regular hourly paid job, like whether you work in retail or if you work in a restaurant like a waitress. So, in short, Annie is laid back yet confident. She has attitude for anyone who wants it, and she does not play about her money. So, those are 3 things we know off top about Andy. Now, again, her boss is coming to bother her on her lunch break because the client who wants her to dance or wants a dancer wants someone who speaks Russian, which Annie does. We find out that Annie does know how to speak Russian because her grandmother never learned English. And during that part, she kind of almost says more about the topic, but kind of holds herself back. So this kind of lets you know there's something going on with her family. Either she keeps them close to the chest or maybe she doesn't want to talk about it. But yeah, there's something there with her family. And it doesn't really seem like she likes speaking Russian. And you also wonder if that's because she relates it to her family. And here we get to meet Ivan, who goes by Vanya, I believe his nickname is Vanya. And he's a 21-year-old Russian who is basically in the United States to party, it seems like. So immediately with Vanya, he gives off grown boy energy, like immature, childish, hyperactive, just not mature at all. And no offense to anyone who looks like similar to Vanya, but they chose an actor to play him for a reason. So he is, like I said, he comes off as far as his demeanor and his personality as just really immature. And he looks like a teenage boy, even though he's not. He's 21. That's what he looks like. So I believe they chose this actor for a reason because it just all around just gives off like this immature, boyish energy. So Annie does dance for him at the club, and then he asks her if she'll be down to do more at his home later on. So when Annie shows up at his house for the first time, all I can think about is the contrast between her and the home. She looks cheap. And again, I'm not being offensive. They did this for a reason. Now, the dress she has on, it literally looks like she got it off the clearance rack from Forever 21 in like 2015. And it looks like it's the middle of the day or daytime. She looks like she's about to go clubbing. So she just looks really out of place coming into this really elegant, modern, kind of cold home, and cold in a sense where it's just not inviting, so not really inviting for her. And she never takes that dang on glitter out of her hair. I noticed that throughout the movie too. She always, no matter where she is or goes, she always has this glitter in her hair. And that also kinda feels like it cheapens her look because it's a time and a place, okay? It's cute for you dancing, at your job in the club, but not just any and everywhere. It's not cute. So again, when she steps inside this cold, expensive home, it is just painfully obvious that she does not fit. However, Annie is completely unfazed by this home. Yes, she does compliment it. She does seem like she's impressed, but she's just like, okay, yeah, it's cute. Okay, what's next? She always has this sense of control about her where she's not like so just overwhelmed with excitement being in this expensive home. Like it's like you would have thought she probably had been in one of these homes before. So nonchalant, never giving too much away. And this is also where she finds out that Vanya is the son of a Russian billionaire. So she knows that she's hit the jackpot. So she meets up with Vanya a couple more times, and one particular time when they are done with their adult activities, he asks her if he could pay her to spend a week with him. We already know that Annie is about her money, so they negotiate 15K for the week. Now, one thing I will note up until this point where they're hanging out, it seems like Annie is more so amused by Vanya than really liking him as a man or as someone she can see a future with. Like, she's obviously having a good time with him, but she isn't really taking him seriously. He is just, she's there for a good time and to get her money, up anything else. So they continue their time together in Las Vegas, bringing his friends along. And this scene is most important because this is where we see that Annie is not that strategic and she gets blinded by the fantasy of living a luxurious life. So they're still in Vegas and are lounging in bed after sleeping together. And then Vanya tells Annie that he has to leave to go back to Russia soon because he promised his dad that he'll start working for his company. This reminds us that the money he's spending is his parents', not his. So if he wants to stay in his parents' good graces and keep the money coming in, there's strings attached. So he said he promised his dad that he'll work for his company, but we know he does not have a choice. So, like, he doesn't have a choice. He has to work for his dad if he wants to keep getting money. So he mentions that if he marries an American, he doesn't have to go back to Russia. This further confirms that if he goes back to Russia, he will have no choice but to work for his father's company. He proposes to Annie and says he likes what they have and thinks Annie would like it too, even if she wasn't getting paid to. Now, I'm wondering what he means by her enjoying her time with him, even if she's not getting paid to. Does he mean that she will enjoy it if their situation stops being transactional since she'll be his wife? Or does he mean she will literally not be getting any money from him because he'll be cut off from his parents? Now, Annie doesn't question it. She doesn't question anything. She's already wrapped up in the fantasy. Of course, she playfully and confidently requires at least a 3-carat ring because she isn't doing this for love, okay? Again, she's all about her money. She's all about she wants the finer things in life. She wants that fantasy. She wants the luxurious life. This is what she wants. So, you know, that ring, even though, yeah, it looks nice, but it's an investment, you know? Like, she's not stupid, but again, she's not too strategic, and we'll see. So back on the East Coast, the two settle into married life in Vanya's parents' house, not his parents' house. Vanya is being a child, of course, busy playing video games and ignoring phone calls from his parents because now it's really apparent that his parents have found out that he got married. So, yeah, one day while he's playing video games with Annie cuddled up next to him, he gets a knock on the door. His parents reached out to one of their people, Toros, to confirm if he got married. Toros sent 2 of his goons to the house on his behalf, Garnick and Igor. They are able to force their way into the house. Vanya and Annie are not happy about it, but Vanya does show Garnick the marriage license to confirm that they actually did get married. Garnick, he takes a picture of the marriage license to send it to Toros, and Toros tells his parent that yes, he did get married. Now, there's a couple things that happen during the scene that show that Annie is a little ditzy and out of her element. She is 23 years old, so this could be her just being young-minded and a little inexperienced, to this lifestyle and, what is actually going on right now. So throughout all the chaos, Annie is constantly asking, "What's going on? What's going on?" As if it's not obvious. Even when Toros makes it clear at the day as to what's going on. His parents are flying down from Russia, and they're going to get the marriage annulled. Simple. Even after that, she still asks, "What's going on? Girl, what do you think is going on? This marriage is done." And if you think back to when he proposed, I thought she was coming up with a master plan when eventually everything hits the fan, when the ish hits the fan. I thought she was coming up with a master plan. She was scheming. She had something figured out. So I was really anxious to see what happened next. Because I knew Vanya was going back to Russia. You knew Vanya was going back to Russia. We all knew Vanya was going back to Russia. She seems like she's the only one who didn't know or realize that Vanya was going to go back to Russia no matter what. But apparently Annie is just clueless about this and she really thinks that she is his wife. Yes, on paper, fine, she is his wife, but let's be so for real. And she gets so offended when Toros basically calls her exactly what she is. Yes, he's purposely trying to insult her and he's being disrespectful, but he told her no lies. It's almost like Annie really doesn't believe that's what she is. You don't have to be on a street corner to sell yourself. That's what you are. That's what you're doing. Just accept it. It feels like she's kind of in la la land. Like things are just kind to start to flip to this other side of her, showing this other side of her. So, of course, when Vanya finds out that his parents are coming, he takes off out the door, leaving Annie to fend for herself. Is anyone surprised? No, we're not surprised because he's really childish, immature, and just a little boy, apparently in a Roman's body. He's 21, but he's acts like a little boy. But we already know that Annie is not the one or the two to be played with. Like, so basically, she fights tooth and nail when Igor tries to keep her from leaving. This scene is so funny because she makes all three of these grown men look like the Three Stooges, making them sorry they ever underestimated her. Igor is eventually able to tie her up and for some reason sits there with his groin pressed up against her the whole time when she is only wearing underwear. He even suggests they tie up her feet along with her hands, but Garnick gets kicked in the face and then it's just like, "Nope, we're good. We're not doing that." And then finally, Annie does agree to go with them to find Vanya after Toros offers her 10K to get the marriage annulled. And they spend almost one third of the movie looking for him. Annie's confidence and assertiveness, her control that she had or appeared to have, turns into aggression and desperation on this search for Vanya. She wants Vanya to stand up for her. She feels like she has some type of control, or she will have some type of control being his wife. This paper means something to her. So they finally find Vanya back where everything started in the club, and she practically begs Vanya to stand up for her in their marriage. Vanya's drunk and out of it, so they take him and go sit outside of the courthouse until it opens up, giving him time to sleep it off. So they discover that they have to go back to Vegas to get the marriage annulled. Annie is still hanging on to some hope that Vanya is going to stand up for her. She's still hoping that the marriage does actually mean something to Vanya. But when his parents arrive in New York on a private jet to take them to Vegas, things get a little bit more clear. So Annie is still desperate to get Vanya to do something as they go to board the plane, but he finally makes it clear that the marriage is over and he has just been having his fun with her. So as Annie stands on the steps of the plane, she musters up some confidence to tell Vanya's mom that she isn't going anywhere and she will take Vanya to court for half of everything. His mom says if she tries it, she will destroy what little her and her family has. Annie, she does back down and she enters the plane. She obviously is protective of her family. So we see this again with her family coming up. She's obviously protective of them. since she would not talk about them at the beginning beyond letting Ivan know that her grandmother's oppression and now not risking their livelihood, no matter how small of means his mom may think it be, she doesn't think it's worth risking. Annie is deflated, but she never loses her feistiness and goes toe to toe with Galva, I believe her name is, Vanya's mom. But again, she's out of her realm, she's out of her element. At that point when she was standing on the steps where she thought she had some control, but Mayan's mom told her otherwise or made her realize otherwise, that she does not have any control over the situation. Being his wife does not give her any control. All of that, she's disillusioned to what it means to be Mayan's wife. However, objectively, she's holding all the cards, right? Like objectively, she has all the power. She just doesn't have the confidence or the strategy to implement this. So that's why she kind of takes a step back, realizes she's out of her realm, and then goes ahead and signs her name to get the marriage annulled. Because what she really should have did is when they got to wherever in Vegas to get the marriage annulled, the courthouse, I don't know where it was. When they got there, that is when she should have basically told them, wire me some money to my checking account, whatever amount of money she wants, wire me this amount of money to my checking account, and then I will sign this paper so she can be done with them. They know that they will be done with her, and it's all well and good. That is honestly what I thought was going to happen. It's like when she went to go to sign the papers, stop. Actually, I'm not signing this until you wire this amount of money into my checking account, and then I'll sign it. That's what I thought was gonna happen and what she was gonna do. So, she kind of got that confidence to try to take some control of the situation, but realized she was out of her realm, and the card she's holding just kinda she just let him alone. She just let him out of her hand. So, after the marriage is annulled, Igor flies back Igor flies back to New York with Annie and drops her off at home. So before she gets out of the car, Igor stops her and gives her back the ring that Vanya bought for her. He gets out and takes her bags to the door. When he gets back in, Annie offers herself to him. And while this is happening, Igor tries to kiss her. Like he does kind of like seem surprised that this is happening, but he just accepts it. And then while this is happening, Igor tries to kiss her. And he's pulling her face towards him while she is resisting him. So she hits him and then cries on his shoulder. Now, after I watched the movie, I watched a couple reviews and read what other people had to say or watched what other people had to say about this part of the movie, or at least about the ending. So the consensus is that she's crying because this is the first time that a man has been kind to her. Like I saw this comment over and over and over again. I saw this in a couple videos, and I had to ask myself, were we watching the same movie? First of all, who's to say there has been no other man that has been kind to her or showed interest in her besides wanting her body? Like none of the men at the club really didn't treat her poorly. They were pretty nice to her and talked to her like a normal human. The only person who treated her poorly or who treated her the most poorly was Igor and Vanya. And I'm going to say Igor mainly because he's the one who put his hands on her and was being inappropriate with her. And how was Igor just so kind to her? Like, what did he do to be so kind to her? Okay, so when they were out looking for Vanya in the cold, he gave her this red scarf so she can stay warm. The same red scarf that they used to gag her. He told Vanya that he needed to apologize to Annie after the annulment. Whoop-de-doo. Oh my God. And he gave her back the ring that was hers to begin with. Like, thank you? Thanks for giving me back my stuff. Oh, did we forget that this is the same guy who tied her up and inappropriately had his groin pressed against her and forced her to sit in his lap for who knows how long? This was basically kidnapping and false imprisonment. Like, mm, did we forget that happened? Like, I'm confused. I'm sorry, but I don't care if you give me $1,000,000 after doing that to me. You are not ever gonna be forgiven. Like, I am calling the police. This moment with her crying on his shoulder, all this stuff happened, like, within the span of, what, 24 hours maybe? Like, she's trying to smash this guy because he gave her back a ring. So it really makes me wonder if most of these comments came from men. So the idea of being tied up and held against your will in a room with 3 men is truly a nightmare scenario for most women. Annie crying on his shoulder had nothing to do with Igor. Absolutely nothing to do with him. She realized that she fumbled the bag. How in 2 weeks did she go from dancing on strangers to marrying the son of a billionaire to straddling some random that she literally met 24 hours ago who's trying to tie her up in his raggedy car? Like, all this in the span of 2 weeks. Like, she's literally, I'm pretty sure this is literally what's going on her head. Like, how did I end up back here? So Annie is confident, street smart, feisty, and knows how to get her money. But she is naive and young-minded. The situation taught her that yes, she was outside of her realm and she should have been more strategic and in control. I'm sure she knew that she was holding all the cards, but she did not have the confidence or the wherewithal to force that control or power upon this billionaire family. But once she dries her tears, she will realize that she's not anywhere near back where she started. No, no, no. She is not going back to that club. So she has 15K from the week that she spent with Vanya. She has 10K for signing that annulment. And she has a 3 or 4 carat ring that she can trade in for some money. I don't know how much a 3 or 4 carat ring costs. I tried to look it up and it can range from like 5,000 to 30, 40, 50,000. Either way, he's the son of a billionaire. I'm sure that ring is worth a pretty penny. Annie is not going back to the club. She, realizing her mistake, she's going to take that money and do something with it. She has street smarts. She all about her money. And now she just got an important life lesson. Let me know what you think about Annie's character. Where do you think she really messed up in this situation? Like, where do you think she fumbled in this situation? Do you think it was when she married Vanya? Do you think that was the moment she messed up? Or do you think it was her not being as strategic? Or do you think she tried to show what power she did have at the wrong time when she was standing on those steps on that plane? Like, she should have did it at a different time or did it a different way, or at least stuck to her guns and called Vanya's mom bluff. Tell me what you think. What should she have done differently? Do you think she could have done anything differently? But that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. Bye.